Welcome to the KiDDS Biz Podcast, your go-to source for unlocking the secrets to success in orthodontics and pediatric dentistry. Each episode, we bring you expert guests who share innovative strategies and insider tips to help your practice thrive. Whether you're looking to enhance patient care, boost your marketing, or stay ahead of industry trends, we've got you covered. Join us on this exciting journey to elevate your practice and make a lasting impact in the lives of your young patients. Let's dive in.
Hi, Davin.
Hey, Dr. Ashley, it's so good to see you again after these last few months.
I know, we've had a little summer break, which was much needed.
Yeah. What did you do with your time?
Oh my gosh, what didn't we do? Honestly, just enjoyed summer here in Orange County with the kids. My little one is 6 months right now. And so, he's just needing a little bit more extra attention these days. So yeah, just being really present with the family.
Oh, that's
What about you guys?
great.
You guys are in your new office.
We're in the new office, which is great. And we also so you've got your 6-month-old. I've got a kid who's a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
And so she started talking about wanting to go, college and where she wants to go and all that stuff. So we had a trip planned to South Carolina that we were going to fly to that we ended up adding on, and it became a driving trip.
Oh, wow.
And we visited 11 colleges.
Wow.
In about 2 weeks. So it was rock and roll.
That's a road trip.
All across the Southeast. We didn't make it to Florida, where I know Dr. Martin is near, but we went to a lot of SEC schools, a lot of fun.
Wow. Well, I am super excited about our guest today. Dr. Martin, I'm going to call him Dave because he's just literally my best friend. Before kids, we would talk almost every day after residency. But now that we have kids, it's like once a month. But, that's life. But Dave and I, we met in residency. And his dad actually is the whole reason why I even did a pedo ortho model. And so I'm really excited to have Dave on, talk about the pedo ortho model. I think he's like a lot of families out there. I do not have any dentists in my family, but I don't know what it is about dentistry, but it's like such a family thing. My husband, it was his grandpa, his dad, and then, he ended up not taking over the practice. So that was a little controversial. But most people, they take over like Dave. And he also has a brother that he works with. So lots of things to unpack. And Dave, tell me, start talking. You're out in Gainesville. We graduated. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually born and raised Gainesville, Florida. My dad started the practice in 1979, kind of working out of a hole in the wall, different parts of town, and then slowly built to the current building we are in. And that's happened back when I was in college. And when he did that, he really kind of went all out in terms of joining this journey of airway, as well as like wanting to create a Disneyland experience for kids. And he was super kid focused. Me and my brother, we just kind of saw how fun it was in the ortho office growing up. Our mom was a pediatrician, so, not to knock on pediatricians at all, but you go into that office and kids are crying from getting shots. You go into the ortho office and kids are playing video games and smiling. We're like, yeah, this is it. But we both decided to go the dental route, both decided to go the ortho route, and sure enough, went to dental school and ortho residency together. So we have the same exact education with same exact philosophies and things like that. So that really, really helps with kind of blending and working together. And we graduated ortho residency in the glorious height of COVID, August of 2020. So that was a ton of fun. And then went in and then took over the practice in early Q1 of 21.
So let's go back and let's lead up our listeners, because I feel like it can be so messy. And that's pretty much what you hear on Facebook groups of I took over my dad's practice, or I'm partnering. There's actually a family where we're at where it's 2 orthodontist brothers, and I don't know any of the drama. All I know is that they have 2 separate practices and they don't speak. So you and your brother are able to work really well together. And, there was a lot that went into that. I saw it firsthand because I was in residency with you, but you guys were like doing a lot leading up while you were in residency to make sure that you guys had a plan and system and you were talking to all the right people. And so that it had the most success. So let's go back to like residency and let's discuss like, what did you and your family do? There was like a counselor involved, or
Yep.
was it a psychologist? So yeah, lead us into all of that, because that's super interesting.
So, all the stats are out there talking about how just when you do a family business, second generation coming in has this overwhelming crash of where the business just fails. And it's typically, let's be real, the largest reason is a little bit of entitlement, and, clash between the person who built it and the person who's trying to take over. Just knowing that my dad he's honestly brilliant, had the foresight to hire a business family psychologist to come in and like literally kind of have these sessions together, group sessions, personal sessions, and just get some nitty gritty things out on the table that, everybody knows in their own family. There's just things that you kind of maybe sweep under the rug, don't talk about, ignore a little bit. And then, but when it comes to doing and it may work in a family, but when doing those things in a business, things start to snowball, things start to build up. Next thing you know, there's huge clashes and business splits or business fails or whatever. So we had to do these sessions where we hashed out really deep personal stuff that I guarantee you it would have ended in calamity had we not kind of set boundaries, described like what our dream was of what we hoped to do, make sure we were getting on the same page, areas of compromise we had to make, areas of extra effort we had to make.
What your roles were going to be.
What your roles, yep.
Yeah.
But one of the big things that came out of that was just the knowledge from this person saying, if you're going to do a family business deal of any kind, you have to treat it as if it's not a family business deal. Everything needs to be contractual, on paper, signed, everybody's understanding, like not saying, hey, if you do this, I'll do that, and just leave it at that. No. It needs to be on paper. These are my duties. These are your duties. We both signed, notarized, all the jazz. But another big one, of which I'll get into details of this later, is the person who, like the parent or other orthodontist or other practice owner, they have a contractual end date where it's over. They are walking out. There's no more of like, well, we're just going to swing by and see how things are going. No. You're done. It's time to be done. You need to pass.
And what was your guys' end date with your dad? How long did you guys give him?
Honestly, after talking to the practice psychologist, the family business psychologist or anything, she was like, you got to do max 6 months. I know it's your kids, but you got to do max 6 months because
get him out of there quickly.
Yeah. And he, that is one of the hardest things for a parent, especially one that, my dad was slowing down, doing it for fun, not putting in a ton of the ball busting extra effort because he was just enjoying himself. And so he was kind of already on that way out and ready to pass the reins. Many others are not. They're like, oh, I've got 10 years left in me. I've got all this extra energy because now the boys are home. Like, no, you can't do that.
Right. And I think that this is true. Like, even if you aren't taking over your dad or your mom's business, like this is true of any family office that you're going to purchase. Like you need that end date. Like I do think that there is that really nice cohesive, you're working side by side. The old doc is handing the reins to the new doc and there's this rapport between
there
patients.
There definitely needs to be that old doc there. Like, they want to feel the confidence that they're passing off to someone who's capable, plain and simple. Yeah. And, there is something to be learned from the old guys. Like it's not to be totally discounted. You don't want to shove off and just say, oh, I know everything. Cause then that's when you'll be dramatically surprised. But
So I have some questions around, if you don't mind sharing, this might be getting a little vulnerable, but you mentioned that there were some things that the counselor walked you guys through in terms of compromise. I think it might be helpful for some of those that are listening. Like, what are some of the things that you guys decided to compromise on?
It was mostly kind of personal things of how we saw things going, and how we, what we wanted a work schedule to look like, what we wanted, the flow to look like, materials to use, methodology, different things like that.
Well, we have to remember it was one doctor and now there's two doctors coming in because there's a brother. So you guys had to be in alignment that you're walking into a one doctor office with two docs.
Right.
So figuring out that schedule.
Yeah. Plus, as well, out of the gates, we're making financially half as much as our friends are because there's two of us. And my dad's office was doing well, but it was also on kind of coast mode. So it wasn't, there wasn't a ton of active growth.
Well, and actually, go ahead.
Well, did you guys talk a lot about like what you guys were going to be doing to modernize the practice?
So I got to say,
at that time, or did that kind of come later,
for sure,
after your dad got out?
No. That was happening before we got there, because we needed to have a game plan for when we walked in the door. But
even before you guys walked in, because I think our listeners are like, "Oh, that's so easy." Like everything went well for them. Like it would have went well regardless if they had like this counselor or anything like that. But you actually had another family member that you were thinking about taking over the business.
Right.
And I feel like without having this counselor, you would have kept thinking, oh, we're going to take over another practice. But because of it, it saved this family dynamic. Do you want to kind of dive into that briefly?
Yeah, there were just lots of communication pitfalls. It was with my aunt, my dad, my brother, and myself. And there was, things being told to us that, weren't actually true. And from, let's just call it a lot of communication pitfalls. But having this this family practice psychologist, we really were able to separate exactly what people's desires were and what they imagined to see. And my brother and I went from the understanding that we were coming back to take over two practices to now we're just going to take over one and potentially work a little bit at the other. And
two orthodontic practices?
Yes, two orthopedo practices.
Okay. His aunt was involved in the situation too, but it's like without this mediator, it would have maybe been a lot messier because you guys were able to figure out early on that she didn't want to sell. And that's great. Like she wants to keep practicing. That's great. But, it was great that you had this mediator to kind of figure that out early and save that family dynamic. Because
it was already stressful. It was
very stressful, but it could have been a lot worse. Cause I think that that's what a lot of even people that are going to buy practices, like they become an associate and these doctors just lead them on. But if they were in like therapy or not therapy, but coaching,
it kind of feels like therapy and it's coaching. I mean, I'm a fan. It was great. Like
can you share who it was, Dave?
Her name's Denise Federer. She'll work with it, I think, virtually anyone across the country.
Okay.
But I can leave that contact info with you guys if you want to.
Yeah,
at some
we can
point.
put it in the show notes.
Yeah. No,
she's actually in South Florida. She's in South Florida. Yeah. But she will make a trip and do sit downs face to face. But she can do a lot of remote stuff as well. But yeah, she was incredible.
Yeah, I think any like associate kind of having those hard conversations with a mediator there and then having those hard conversations put into paper as early as possible is like such a huge takeaway that I am so proud of you guys for doing and for your dad, like aligning all of that for you. Cause it was hard while you guys were in it and I'm sure very stressful. I'm sure it like saved so much stress later on.
Right. Cause we were forced to talk about things that our emotions would cloud our judgment on. Should we say this? Should we not say this? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, the treasure was pried out of us and it was valuable.
Well, I think in transitions, whether it's family or not, there's so many things that you kind of dance around the issue.
Right.
Rather than taking it head on and having someone that's there to tease that out and really say, no. I mean, if we're going to do this, let's talk about it. And so I think it's hugely helpful for anybody that's listening, that's going into a practice, that even if it's not family, that maybe suggesting some sort of a psychologist more than just the broker that's doing the business side of it, to really get the interpersonal side of it out, which that's hugely, like you said, your dad was brilliant to suggest that.
Yeah, that was some really good foresight. And it's someone that you can check in through time, like, especially if you're going with a partner, and if you feel like there's like some stuff that's getting swept under the rug, and a keg of dynamite might blow up in your face, you can always just reach out to this person again and sit down and be like, all right, let's hash some stuff out. This is how I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like you're pissing me off.
Yeah. So as you guys have now gotten into it, kind of, if you could maybe walk us through kind of the balance that you and your brother and maybe your dad through this process have found in terms of being able to honor this legacy of the practice, but also going through and modernizing it. You said you had a plan in place kind of before, but talk about how that's kind of played itself out a little bit.
So, the plan in place before was just kind of your basics of, if you're coming into a new practice and you need to make your face known, we just did shotgun marketing approach, community presence, doing any kind of stuff where we joined the Chamber of Commerce, start going to all the meetings. We threw a really big carnival, let's call it, out in our parking lot, where we had bounce houses, face painting, snow cones, DJ from a local radio station, so on and so forth. Keep it going, other businesses. Local dental society, the orthopedo thing. I know that there's a lot of listeners that are like, oh, once I do orthopedo, no one's gonna ever refer to me again. We still would hit up all the local dentists to just put our face there, let them know we're home, all that kind of stuff. But I'll touch on that in terms of a little bit of differences of how we changed things after being there for a while. So, that was all pre-planned beforehand. Getting home, and after being there for a while, one of the things that we knew coming home was my dad only wanted to treat kids. So the ortho practice was only kids. And the entire office itself was very much so aesthetically designed for kids. Coming out of ortho residency, one of the things we had learned was that there's a booming market of adults, and to not take advantage of that is silly. So after getting back and saying, okay, we want to treat adults as well, that's where I'm saying we went to the local dentists and to adult dentists and said, like, we don't want your kids, man. Like, I ain't trying to take kids out of your practice. And I've got tons of kids that will be graduating that I'll be sending your way. Like, they're going to be leaving the pediatric office. I've got plenty of people leaving, and I need to send them somewhere, and I'd love to send them to you. So if you've got some adults,
that's a great aspect that I feel like people don't really talk about, is like how pediatric dentists can then refer, and kind of making that reverse referral.
Right.
But like that making that your marketing scheme. I mean, us as a startup, I couldn't do that for another 18 years. But when you're taking over a legacy or, pedo ortho office, that's definitely a great marketing strategy that I haven't really heard people talk about. So that was a great point, Dave.
So can I clarify something? So you guys on the pediatric dental side, you guys were then making a shift on the ortho side to treat adults only? And
no. To treat kids. No. To treat orthodontics, my dad was only treating kids. And my brother and I said, nah, we want to treat anybody that has more than 2 teeth and an arch and a pulse.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. But you're still trying to keep the kids in the practice. You're just maybe
he's saying the pedo. So he's saying, like, on the pediatric side, the kids that are aging out of their practice, telling the
dental side.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So like all of our kids' dental patients. Yeah. All of our kids' dental patients. I mean, we have people that are graduating all the time. They need an adult dentist, or like,
yes.
Even someone that has permanent teeth that needs a crown, like, we've got to send them to an adult dentist. Because we don't, if they want like an actual, 16-year-old that breaks their front tooth and needs a full coverage crown, like someone's got to do it. And Dr. Charlotte, no, we don't do any kind of pros.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I'm tracking now.
Yep. Cool. But I mean, that was a big thing, because as well, a unique thing with the dentists in my area is that as we were changing over and my brother and I were coming in, many other offices in town were also changing over in dental wise. So a lot of the older dental people were selling to younger dentists. And so that was a little bit more unique to us. We were able to kind of bond with the younger generation of provider, because it went from traditionally the local community seeing my dad do the orthopedo thing and shunning him, frankly, saying, well, you're never going to get a referral again, which I always thought was, when I hear that, I always kind of think it's silly, because these dentists don't want to treat kids. But then they want to shun you and not send you referrals. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't understand. But it's like, you don't want to do it, but you.
Was he the only ortho-pedo combo in town?
We are still.
Oh, still are. Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And let me, I just want to clarify as well. So Dr. Charlotte, who does our kids dentistry stuff, she is a general dentist doing only kids. So we don't do any sedation or anything like that. She's not a pediatric specialist.
Okay.
And I think that got.
So who are you guys referring to all of your sedation cases? Is that another pediatric office, or how do you guys navigate that?
Yep. So there's a couple in town that we work with that, they have a good relationship with us. Actually, one of them went to dental school with us, and if a sedation case needs to happen, then we can refer over there. And
do they refer any ortho to you because of that?
Yeah.
Referral.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a good strategy as well.
Typically, so once again, Dr. Charlotte is a very unique person. She has skills that blow me away. Kids of all, demeanors, let's say, will come because the parents didn't want to try sedation somewhere else, and she can make them calm as a Hindu cow. And I don't know how she does it, but she does. But kids that truly need the sedation, those kids we end up referring to a local specialist, and we're okay if they stay there, because if they're going to need sedation multiple times, then just keep them. It's okay. Like, we're okay to let that go. And that's where the pediatric specialists make a lot of their money anyways, so they're happy with that.
If you're like most orthodontic and pediatric dental practices, you're probably struggling with oral hygiene compliance, observation conversions, and an increase of shoppers, especially among young patients and their families. In my practice, Wild Smiles makes converting observation and phase 1 patients easy. Young patients and their shopping families value a personalized experience. When I first added Wild Smiles to my practice, they made inventory and reordering easy, and they even led our team through simple instructions on integrating Wild Smiles into our existing systems. So we saw an immediate success. Grow your early orthodontic patient population with Wild Smiles to combat boring traditional braces and expensive phase 1 aligners. Check out wildsmilebraces.com/doctors to choose the customizable easy start kit that's right for your practice. Mention code KiDDS to save 10% off your first order. Yeah, and I feel like, again, that's like another good referral, going back and forth.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about, there's 3 doctors in your office.
Yep.
There's Dr. Charlotte. She's your pediatric specialist or
no, general dentist.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So then I'm wearing it.
Yep. It's a very clear distinction in marketing.
She exclusively does your pediatric dentistry.
Yep.
I did that for a year in between dental school and ortho residency, so I get it. And then you and your brother Paul are splitting the ortho days. So kind of walk us through that splitting, because you kind of have a nice schedule like me, because we're both so Dave actually has a 6-month-old too. So we actually have 2 kids, very, very similar ages, same genders. So he's kind of in the same phase of life as me, where I'm working 2 days a week. He's working 2 days a week. So kind of talk about the benefits of, like, a lot of people are like, you oh, you must not work that much. Like you took over a 1 doctor practice. There's 2 of you. How's that going? But it's kind of working for you really well and working to what you want from your family too.
Yeah, no, in the beginning, when we first got back and no kids were on the scene, we were both doing 4 days a week, and sometimes it would be both of us in clinic. Other times we'd be working in another location. And but there was lots of stale time where I wasn't doing anything in the office. And then we slowly started saying to ourselves, like, all right, well, why don't we do week on, week off? And then we said, okay, now we're, as we're building, it's still like, that's too much time away from the office. It just didn't feel right. And then after we had built and we got to, we're at, let's call it a 1.5 doctor practice now. We said to ourselves, like, let's just do 2 days a week each and keep it easy. Like, when we looked at, all right, how do we make this a true 2-doctor practice? How can we make this happen? We looked at everything it would take, which meant buying a building next door, blowing out a wall, adding new chairs, things like that, full remodel, hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. We looked at each other and we were just like, are we happy with the amount of money we're making? And we're like, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of happy. Like I've got a savings account, I've got some investments, and we only have to work 2 days a week to do this. Like growth is still the priority, but damn, this is nice. Like we were willing to sacrifice big dollars for quality of life. And I've got potentially 5 days a week with my family.
Yeah.
And
which is huge at this stage.
Oh my gosh. And if someone told me, hey, you're going to make $1 million a year if you put in the 2 extra days, would you do it? I'd just be like, nah. I mean, it's a me thing.
And maybe not right now, but maybe in 3-4 years, maybe you'll have a change of heart when the kids are older. But like right now, you can never get back this time when they're so little. And
like I just took my daughter.
We're so privileged.
I just took my daughter to work too. I just took my daughter to school for her first day of school today, and that's a first that I'll never get back. Like
and you were able to drop her off,
and I was able to drop her
pick
off,
her up, and that's huge stuff that you can never get back.
This is a huge part of the conversation that I think no one talks about. Is so many people on podcasts and well, we're always driving towards growth, and like you said, growth is part of the goal, but this I think healthy part of the conversation of, well, how much is enough, and what kind of lifestyle do I want, and do I want to be with my family, and do I want to? I think it seems like you're taking a very healthy approach.
Honestly,
and some people might call it lazy or whatever, but I think you're looking at it and you're saying, hey, I'm making enough money to live a lifestyle that I want for my family in this stage of life. And that's, I think, very great. So kudos to you for being willing to say it.
No, I have patients that come in and say, oh, I want to be an orthodontist. I want to be a dentist. And I say, great, that sounds awesome. And they're like, what do I need to do? Like, what are the things I need to do? And I'm like, well, what you need to do first is think about the life that you want to live outside of work. And then you need to work backwards on how to get that. So if, being an orthodontist and a dentist or doctor or surgeon or whatever, like, will you be able to enjoy a weekend? Like, are you going to be able to take a 2-week vacation if you feel like it? Like, if you can't think about the life you want, you've just been hypnotized while you're in school about money, money, money. We got to hustle, get it. Well, then, next thing you know, you're missing out.
I'm always so envious that you have a brother to share all of the things with, because, the cost of going on vacation is not the cost of going on vacation. I have to pay someone else to do it. I have my full staff there, even if it's not a clinical day. The cost of going on vacation is so expensive, whereas, your brother can work and vice versa. His wife, Elise, which is one of my best friends, just had a maternity leave, and they got to go to Australia. Was it 4 weeks?
5 weeks. 5
weeks. That is unheard of. So, such a privilege that you get to do that. I think that's so amazing.
Yeah. No, my working with Paul has been amazing in that sense. And it's funny, I keep on pressuring him. I'm like, bro, take a vacation. Like, I've got it. You'll be good.
Is he a little bit more of a control freak, or what's the?
No,
he's
just
like to be around, not a more of a homebody.
He's a homebody, and he enjoys going on his vacations. Him and my dad have done some things, gone to Alaska to salmon fish, and in February he's gonna take a cruise to Antarctica. So I'm like, you got to get out and do some fun things, bud. Like, I've got it. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's great.
We touched on growth a little bit, and, I don't want to dock Dave saying, oh, they've kept everything the same. They've actually significantly have grown since going, passing the reins from dad to now their brothers. And so they have grown 34% in 3 years that they've taken over, which I think is not anything to knock. It's 10% growth over growth, or year over year. And that's honestly really hard to do if you are not adding locations, adding days, adding doctors, things like that. So, for you guys to kind of keep it the same amount of doctor days, same locations, and be able to grow 34% in 3 years, I think is pretty huge. So, do you want to kind of talk about what you think accounted for that growth without adding huge production things?
So the shotgun approach marketing in the very beginning, we did everything. That was a simple one, definitely got our name and face out there. And it kind of reinvigorated Martin Orthodontics, because like I said, my dad started in 1979. And so a ton of locals have the Martin smile, like I have parents coming in, they're like, oh, your dad did my braces. So, that's a lot of people that have stayed. But then touching back on the adult dentist stuff and us going around, one of the things we did that we decided we needed to make a split. We needed to make a split between our community presence of what was seen as Martin Orthodontics and what was seen as Martin Kids Dental Health Team. We are in the same building, and the real kicker for me was having more than one adult coming in for a consult in the ortho clinic and sitting down and saying, wow, when I pulled up, I thought I was in the wrong place. This is like a place for little kids. And I'm like, oh no, that's not good.
Let's paint the picture for our listener. Like, what do you mean? Describe what it looked like prior to the split.
So, the logo was the same. It had these kind of puzzle pieces fitting into an M with some cartoonish characters around the outside, alligator, turtle, things like that. And then on the inside of my office, it's almost Disney-esque. It has like all these mannequins and other alligator statues and things like that. And it's swamp themed because we're in the swamp. And, it looks like a kid's place. And so, what we have not done quite yet is an office remodel to potentially put it in a separate orthodontic entrance. But we did a big logo change, and we changed the aesthetic of our orthodontics kind of side, let's call it. So that when people like see the website and things like that, it's not super kiddie looking. And I think that definitely changed a lot. Next thing you know, we're having college kids, we're having adults, we're having people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And, people looking for touch-ups and things like that. Because people had always heard about us, but they were always told, no, they just do kids. And definitely from an outside looking in, the place looks like it's made just for kids. So we put a lot of effort into trying to split that so that we could really open it to anybody and have them feel comfortable. The future will entail doing a remodel of the orthodontic section to make it more spa-like, let's call it. That will appeal to the fancy teenagers now that love TikTok, as well as anybody in between. So that was a huge shift. And that definitely, that was one of the bigger things.
No, that's amazing. Well, I have to tell our listeners, I don't think a lot of people feel comfortable enough to ever hand over here's all my KPIs. Here's all my information. Dave just willingly was so vulnerable and gave all of his information so that I could dig through it for the podcast to come up with what were the things that I wanted to share with our listeners so that we can like have the most take it home stuff. And one of the things that I saw that was absolutely huge was from the time when your dad started. One, your guys' overhead is so low. Like, and I was like, talking to my husband last night as I'm like digging through all the information. I'm just like, dude, how is their overhead so low? And then I remember I live in California, but still, regardless, even wherever you live, it is so good. And so let's talk about the change, because that's regardless of where you live. So you went on the pediatric side from 58% when your dad practiced, which was still a great number, to 52%. Like, to decrease it by 6% is huge. What do you think, because this was on the pediatric side, what do you think accounted for that reduction in overhead?
So one of the big things that, once again, this is unique to us, sadly. It might not be unique to us. It might be other people experience this as well. When you're coming into an established orthodontic pedo, and the pediatrics, if they're doing well, I mean, our Dr. Charlotte, her books were full. She was turning people away. Like, there are people that could not fit another patient in there without adding a chair, which is what we did eventually. So I limited every little bit of marketing that there was for it. Zero. Took away every single marketing dollar. And then another big thing, has that hurt
you on the production side? No. So it's still the same.
Still turning people away.
It's way higher. No, we'll get into that too.
Okay, gotcha. Well,
I got all his numbers memorized.
I don't want to get ahead of us here, but I'm like, whoa, hey, okay.
Yep. No, it hasn't hurt at all. She has established herself with word of mouth that, she's incredible.
How many years has she been with the practice?
Let's see. She just had her.
And you could estimate.
12 year.
12,
yeah.
So if you have an associate for that long, that's maybe something you could do. But
but she's established herself. I mean, and everyone loves her, and so I love her.
Yes. No, she's great.
Took away the marketing.
No, took away marketing, and then I came back and just looked around, and I was just like, there's so much materials here that's just untouched. Like, things that haven't been used in 6 months, and I was like, if it has a layer of dust on it or it hasn't been used recently, toss it and eliminate it from all buying, period.
So cleaning up your supply list.
Yeah. So like I did that as well for orthodontics. And when I look at it, like,
how many items would you say that was?
Hundreds.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much, because it's one of those things, you start buying one thing, you forget about it, and it just keeps on getting bought. And all those little dollars add up.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's huge. I think when you're taking over a practice is really simplifying, because they've been practicing forever. And so they probably do it a little bit there and a little bit there. So kind of simplifying that.
Like orthodontics, like I have one stainless steel wire, 018 steel. That's it. I don't use any other stainless at all. TMA, I have a 1622 TMA and a 1725 TMA, and that's it. I don't use any others. And then the rest of the NiTis. So like, I know what works in my hands, and I'm like, why would I ever even have an inventory of some of this other stuff? Like, I just don't need it. And so from that minimalist perspective of, if I'm going to use this once in a blue moon, then I'm going to find a way to not use it at all. And I'm just not going to get it.
We hinted earlier about production. Oh, and another tidbit, because I feel like I know so much about Dave's practice, is they cut paid marketing, which I have also done. But they really leveled up with their social media. So their organic stuff that's free, like, and Dr. Charlotte, this is where she shines. Like, she's a little like quirky and has a fun personality, and like clearly she loves
dental girls. Yeah, the dental girls love doing their TikToks.
Yeah,
Paul and I
love
we're not
making
as
their
good on
TikToks. She's always in the videos, and so they didn't just take away marketing; they took away maybe stuff that wasn't turning an ROI, paid marketing, but they upped their organic, all of their social media. So that's a huge takeaway, and that's actually very similar. I think our paid marketing is always like 1% of our total revenue. Like, it's like literally nothing. But that's because I do a ton of organic stuff. I'm working for free, essentially. Okay, we touched on production because that went up a ton. So in 2022 to 2023, another KPI that I thought was huge was you guys were doing about $5,700 on the pediatric side per day, and it went up to $8,000 a day. And so I had to know, how did you make that happen? Well, reducing the overhead at the same exact time. So super impressive. Dave, do you want to touch on that?
Added a full-time hygiene chair and shortened appointments.
So, okay. So you added a hygiene chair. Was it already plumbed? Did you was the goal always to add?
The goal was always to add. It was just, you know, one of those that was used as a spare. You know, Dr. Charlotte was like, yeah, I'm ready for it. It's fine. I'm good. And I was like, great, let's do it. And
how many op chairs does she have going?
6. No.
So she has 6 hygiene.
So 6 hygiene, 2 opt.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a busy. You guys are huge on insurance then, because you take all the insurances.
I mean, that's one of those things, because we're stacked full of people, we're dropping insurances.
Yes.
And
yeah, that'll make for a whole nother podcast. We're going to be doing that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully when you drop insurances, you'll be going up to another 12.
Yep. Oh, we've already dropped a bunch. Yeah. And it's once the people get established and they're just like, it's too good here, we can't go.
Yeah.
And our kids are comfortable. They like Dr. Charlotte. They ask, when can we go to the dentist again? So
yeah,
it's like when your kid does that, it's like, yeah, I'm willing to pay.
Love that. Okay. One other KPI that I thought was super interesting was, again, this is on the pediatric side. From 2023 to 2024, your collections went from 91%, which is still a great number, to 97% collections. So speak to how you were able to increase your collection percentage to 97, because I think that is a great number.
That was one of those things when I got back, I just said, we're not going to play this game. We're not going to play the business game of, you know, trying to give people grace. It sounds cold-hearted, but it is at the end of the day, it is a business. So, you know, traditionally people would come to their appointment, hygiene or opt or whatever, check out, schedule the next visit, and they'd say like, oh, I'll call back and give you my card over the phone, or we'll just settle it up next time or whatever. And we would give grace. That was the end of that. I just said a future visit will not be scheduled until balance has been paid. Simple. And just that change, don't get me wrong, we lost people over it because they wouldn't pay. So we never scheduled them again. They just disappeared.
But those aren't the type of patients. We want the paying patients in our chairs.
I mean, you just, at the end of the day, it is a business. So,
yeah.
And, we had good personalities at the front desk that were very compassionate, gentle, but firm. And we're hustlers and just did an amazing job of kind of running it down. And as well with things that were on the books but hadn't been paid. I mean, we had people calling and saying like, this is due. You ready to give me your credit card? Because
do you guys do text to pay?
No.
Oh, we do text to pay. I'll have to do something about our KPIs at one point too, but text to pay has been like such a game changer. Like, so, I think that's one thing is like, it's such a hard when you are the doctor and you're the business owner, like and then there's, Google reviews and, it's always the the 1-star reviews always about money, and you have that in the back of your mind. So you're always like scared, like, do I charge? Do I write it off? I feel like that's an ongoing conversation that I always internally have. And I always lean on, let's just write it off. Let's just write it off. But we, about a year ago, started doing $50 no-show charges, and I was so scared about doing it. But I wanted our patients to start taking their appointments seriously. We went from a startup where we had all this time, it didn't matter, to now, you can't get on the books. We're so busy, and I'm only there 2 days a week. So the appointment times are very, very valuable. And it is shocking that text to pay. I mean, it's like not a big deal. So any doctors out there that are kind of on the fence about whether they should paying for no-show fees and and inquiring about the text to pay, it has been very successful in our practice. So highly recommend.
So I kind of want to just recap here, because if I'm listening to this conversation and so you reduced your overhead by 6% by basically doing two fairly simple things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you increased production by 6% by doing two fairly simple things. Was that 6%?
It went from, I don't know the actual percentage, but he went from producing per day 5,700 to 8,000.
8,000.
So that's a hefty amount.
Increased your daily production by a really significant amount. You decreased by doing only two things. And so I think, for those of you guys that are out there listening about like, oh my gosh, I got to do all these big things to make a big impact. No, it sounds like it was the execution of it might not have been super, super simple, but it wasn't like you sit down and made these huge, big time changes.
Yeah.
Right. No, both Ash and I and my brother, we all went to the same residency. And our residency was run by private practice owners that were about, frankly, volume. We got to see kind of firsthand where overspending and dramatic constant change just led to intense stress. So one of the things that we said to ourselves when we get back is, when we get back, we do nothing. We do nothing. We change nothing. We look and see how it goes. And after we get a feel for what's going on, we only make one change per quarter maximum, and it's going to be small. And we just said, like the marketing stuff, when we cut that out entirely, we said, we're having extreme success already here. Let's eliminate all of these dollars and then see what happens. If it takes a dip, great, we'll come back into it. If it doesn't dip, we'll leave it alone. And just, there we go. There's dollars in our pocket again.
I think so quickly people, go ahead.
The material stuff is the same. Like, let's just throw a bunch of stuff away and not buy it again and see if we need it. If we need it, great, we'll get it. If we don't, then they're gone. But coming in and trying to do big dramatic changes real fast, that's a great way to stress out your new team that barely know you and are like, what the hell is going on? Right. If you come in and just do nothing and ride that wave for a little while till you have staff feeling good about you, and then you implement small change slowly, you will have a team that is much more supportive and less stress.
So on the team side, I think those are awesome points. So what was the turnover from let's call it the legacy side of the practice to the new modernization side that you guys are running now? I mean, is it all the same team?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've gotten
almost no turnover.
Oh, zero. No, we didn't. When we came back, everyone kept their job, and we actually ended up giving people raises relatively quickly.
Wow.
Just across the board, and one of the things was, it's actually kind of funny, Miss Kim, I'll mention her. She's one of my ortho assistants. This lady saw me crawling around the office in diapers. And like, she still refuses to call me anything other than Dr. Dave. And I'm like, Miss Kim, you can call me anything you want. Like, you've been here forever. Right. But then of course we have newer, younger people. But yeah, it's once again a little unique, because I've had people there that saw me as a child, saw me grow up. And now I'm their boss. So it was a little kind of clunky in the beginning. And that's one of those where, as long as a situation would present itself and I would make my role very defined and clear. And we very quickly got past that weird gray zone. Sure. But they're all wonderful. So
the key is reduce overhead, simplify, and give your staff raises. You'll keep them all.
Seriously.
Well, that is not contrary to what you hear in the business world, but you don't hear it a lot from people that are running orthodontic practices. That's like, I've got to keep running down more and more production rather than taking the surgical look at where can I actually provide more value and save some money and keep the staff. And ultimately that brings a huge amount of value.
Yeah. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. The answer is usually simple. It may be hiding from you, but it's usually pretty simple. If you try to do big, crazy things, that's where next thing you know, you end up in a creek.
Well, I think that, we'll be like, oh, our numbers are down. And then all the time on the Facebook groups, I see people, oh, our new patients are down. Like, what conference do you recommend? What consultant do you recommend? And it's like our first thought is, how do we spend more money to get better? Do you know your own numbers? Have you looked internally? Do you do D-bond analysis? Like, there's so many things that you need to look internally, have a well-functioning machine. After you've done those things, then you know the right questions to ask. Then you can hire the consultant. But I think that was one of the major things I learned when I hired my COO is looking under the roof more and getting an analysis of
there's
what our own KPIs
there's
are.
no earth-shattering treatment that's new. There's no crazy marketing scheme that's going to be better. You need to look within.
Well, it's about taking agency over the business that you own.
Yes.
And not relying on an outside expert, like what you pointed out, Dr. Ashley. There's a time and a place for outside experts, but let's first take agency over the fact that I own this business, and it's my responsibility to understand the numbers and make some decisions first. And that's not always, and this isn't a judgment statement, but that's just not always the way that a lot of people approach it.
Yeah. So Dave, in our final thoughts, what is next for you and your brother? I feel like you and I always talk about the future, and what are your goals for Martin Orthodontics? What's going to happen with you guys?
The future is hopefully further expansion, which will take away my 2 days a week of work. Darn it, I'll have to work more. But once we expand, then after that, it's kind of see how the train rides, and decide where do we want lifestyle to go. But I'd say just that's a big one on the horizon is expansion, and maybe a remodel of orthodontics.
Well, so I was going to ask, so in terms of expansion, are you talking about remodeling and
buying another practice?
Okay, so actually
another practice,
adding
another city.
Locations.
Yeah, adding a location.
Not just trying to be more efficient in your current practice.
Yeah, no, the goal is to buy another practice in another location.
And you want to buy an existing practice or start from scratch? Okay.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring the same approach to that practice that you did with your dad's practice.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. That's about it.
So is that soon, do you think, or is that's in the next couple of years or the next couple of months?
Probably the goal is by the end of next year.
We always have to find the practice first.
Right. Right.
That's my biggest hurdle, finding the needle in the haystack.
Right. Exactly.
All of these DSOs are buying them up and offering an X that we can't offer. So
is that
there's not as much left. Yes.
There's
at least we're in my area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the way I see it is dentistry follows medicine. Give it a 7 to 10 year gap. You're kind of hard pressed to find private practice doctors nowadays.
Right.
They're all corporate. I mean, even where I'm at, it's called HCA, and they just bought every single private practice doctor next to our hospital. And dentistry will follow. It'll all happen. Your mom and pop shops in 15, 20 years, they're going to be you'll be hard pressed to find them. And they just don't have the backing power that some of these other big dollar companies do. They'll outmarket you and everything else, but that doesn't mean you can't be super successful within them. It's just the simple mom and pop shops, I don't know, the future may not hold them.
It's always changing. We just have to adapt with it as those changes come. And listen to our podcast, because we'll guide you along the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Dave, thank you so much. I feel like this was super helpful to anyone out there that has family in dentistry or that's just looking to buy an older doc's office, and kind of, having those hard conversations ahead of time, and that preparation will kind of ease a lot of those issues that will definitely arise.
Yeah. I'm super encouraged by not only the way that you guys approached it with your family, but also just the keeping it simple method, and really not stressing out and not really chasing after like these huge things, just looking at what can we do and take it slow and keep it simple. And then the numbers show themselves. So that's, I think it's
just stick with what you know, keep it simple, and play your strengths. And anytime you think about doing something crazy and extra, then make sure that you have people in your life that have already done it, so that you're not just going out on your own like I just did with printing retainers that has turned out horribly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're always we always want the next best thing. I've had lots of encounters where I've tried new things that I regret, but
I'm so glad you tried them first. I'm so glad you tried them first.
That's part of the strategy. Let Ashley pay for it and see if it works, and then tell Dave.
Well, I just paid for one that she got some good info out of. So
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
We go back and forth.
Well, and for those of you that are listening, I know we mentioned a couple of maybe contacts or links that we'll post in our Facebook group for you guys to get engaged with from this podcast. So make sure that you're following us in the Facebook group and a part of that and engaging there. There's a lot more value beyond just the podcasts that's added there. So
great. Well, thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Dr. Martin, thanks so much for your time.
You bet. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the KiDDS Biz Podcast. We hope you gained valuable insights to elevate your practice. If you enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to leave us a review. It really helps us grow. Want to dive deeper into our community? Join the KiDDS Biz Facebook group for discussions, resources, and networking with fellow professionals. Until next time, keep striving for success in your ortho and pediatric practice.